What's up, guys? Raymaster Flex here, and today I'll be giving you a special edition of a WWE Raw review. Now, this is my first time ever doing this. I've never done a WWE Raw review, so depending on how many people watch and how many people view this video, how many people like this video, then I will continue to do more and more over time. We are just about, at this point, almost 72 hours removed from Battleground, and I thought of doing a video of WWE Battleground, but of my review on that pay-per-view. But I'm gonna be quite honest, it wasn't exactly all the matches. It was really only about 4 matches on that pay-per-view that really stood out throughout every match that was on the pay-per-view. And so I thought, after seeing Monday Night Raw yesterday, I couldn't help but make a video of my WWE Raw review, because I just could not help it. It was absolutely amazing, and this is the first Raw coming out of the draft. What a Raw it was. But let me be clear and have a little bit of clarification here on exactly what I'm doing here with this review. Now, for the first time, I'm not only just doing, talking about matches, but I will also rate the matches and say exactly how good I thought the match really was out of 10 stars. And let me just say this: there was a lot of moments that happened on Raw last night, but I'm only going to talk about the matches. I'm not going to talk about the promos that took place and stuff like that. I'm particularly only going to talk about the matches. Now, there were other awesome things that happened last night. For example, they changed the Raw theme song. They changed the Raw entrance. It actually looks good now. The commentators are no longer at ringside; they're in the front, and that's how it used to be back then. You had the moments with the New Day. Oh, poor New Day. They just they just couldn't celebrate now, could they? They were celebrating their record that they broke from Paul London and Brian Kendrick becoming the longest reigning tag team champions, and then the Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows just had to ruin it. But you had movements, you had stuff like that took place. You had the beginning of Raw when Mick Foley announced that there would be a new championship on Raw called the WWE Universal Championship, which I found really actually strange when I first heard about that, because I was wondering what title would they bring on Raw, since the big title is now on SmackDown. How was Raw going to come back? How was Raw going to be able to have a championship on Raw? But they settled that just last night. So let me stop rambling. Let me stop doing all that, and let's get started with this list. Now, like I said before, I'm only concentrating on the matches. I'm not concentrating on any other thing that happened throughout the night. I'm just concentrating only on the matches, because last night was a really good Raw, and I couldn't help making a video of it. And depending on how many people like this video and subscribe, which I really hope you guys subscribe, because if you do, I will continue to do this. So I really need you guys' support. So first of all, it was also announced there will be 2 Fatal Four Way matches last night on Raw, and whoever would win would go on to the main event, and whoever won the main event would face Seth Rollins at Summerslam for the Universal Championship. Because since Seth Rollins didn't get pinned by the Ambrose, they put the blame on Roman Reigns for the title now going to SmackDown. So because of that, they had to praise Seth Rollins and put him at SummerSlam already, so that whoever win both matches, face each other in the main event, then they go on to face him at SummerSlam. So first up, our first Fatal 4-Way match, we had Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens versus Cesaro versus Rusev. This was an incredible opener. This was a really good Fatal 4-Way match. Like, every guy Every guy contributed good in this match. I really liked this match. I gotta give it up to all of them in this match, and I was really shocked. And not only was I shocked, but the fact that this was Finn Balor's first time being on Raw, first time being on the main roster, and he pulled out the victory. And he beat a former U.S. champion. He beat a former world champion. You know, he beat it. That's just amazing to me. Like, what a match it was. Every guy gave it their all in this match. You know, Cesaro had me thinking he was going to win at one point, especially when he was going for the uppercut train. It was just off the chain, unbelievable. And then when Kevin Owens went for the pop-up powerbomb, I almost thought he was going to win. But he ended up not winning. I mean, they had Rusev at one point who put in the accolade. Each and every one of them just had a huge contributor in this match. And what an amazing match it was. And Finn Balor pulled out the victory. I think that's probably the best part about this whole thing, is that Finn Balor pulled out the victory. Finn Balor won this match, and Finn Balor would advance to the main event of the night. What an incredible match. And if I were to rate this match out of 10 stars, like I said, I'm going to rate this a 9.5 out of 10 stars. That's how good I think it was. You don't have to agree with me on that, but I think this match was a really good match, a really good opener within the night. This was a really good way to start off Raw. And you can tell they were doing this to compete with SmackDown, which is why I say I hope SmackDown has some really good matches tonight, because if SmackDown shows up and turns out to be good, then expect another video from me making a WWE SmackDown review, depending on how good SmackDown turns out tonight. But Raw last night looked like the show to watch. Raw last night looked like the show that was like out there. So like I said, for the Fatal Four Way match, what an incredible match that was, an unbelievable match. Then next up, and the only reason I'm going in order with this is because I have to. I usually don't like to go in order, but when it comes to stuff like this, when it's a Raw review, I'm going in order based on every match that happened. Then you had I know her name, but I can't really say it, Natty J or whatever her name is from NXT, basically versus a jobber. Now this match I wouldn't even really rate, because I mean, you can obviously see that the purpose of them doing this match was to have her look like a beast in her debut, which she did. So what a perfect way to do it, to have her come out and burst on the scene and just basically demolish her opponent like it was nothing. Like, that match was, you know, didn't even last 5 minutes. That's how short that match was. But, you know, it was a good way for her to basically make a statement to the Divas division that she has come, that she's here, and that she is, you know, she is there for all of the Divas to be aware of. So that was a good way of her doing that. Next up, you had the next Fatal Four Way match of the night, Roman Reigns versus Chris Jericho versus Sami Zayn versus Sheamus. Now, I didn't think that this was as good as the first Fatal Four Way match, but it was a really good match. Every guy in this match did a really good job, and I think the only thing that some people weren't too happy about is the fact that Roman Reigns ended up winning the match. But this was a good match too. It was a lot of open spots where I thought that one of them was going to end up winning the match. The fact that Sheamus bro-kicked not only Roman Reigns, but he bro-kicked someone else in the match too. And, you know, it was some really open spots that you would have thought that someone else would have won this match. Even Sami Zayn had his open spot at one point. And when Chris Jericho went for the code breaker, you almost thought that was it when he hit on Roman Reigns, but it wasn't. But it was a really good match as well. This was another awesome match of the night. This Fatal Four Way match here. Of course, Roman Reigns will win, so then he would go on to face Finn Balor in the main event. But what a match this was. This was an incredible match as well. It wasn't as fast-paced action as the first Fatal Four Way, but it was a really good match just looking at it. Every guy played a huge role in this match. And if I was to rate this match, I give it about an 8.5 out of 10 stars. I can't exactly give it the same amount of stars as the other match got, but I will give it an 8.5 out of 10 stars because it was that good. So I definitely give it that many stars. 8.5 out of 10 stars. I don't know if that seems too high to people, but that's just how good I thought the match was, even though Roman Reigns won. But it still was a good match, so you can't really deny that. Next up on this list, you had Curtis Axel versus Neville. I mean, this was basically the return of Neville. Pretty decent match, you know, something just average to be put on Raw. Give it about a 4 out of 10 stars. You know, it wasn't one of the best matches of the night, but it did suit Neville. And it was funny because they call Curtis Axel Mr. Irrelevant because he was basically the last pick that Raw had picked. So, you know, he was kind of offended that they actually called him that because he basically was irrelevant, because that basically showed that Raw didn't really care about picking him. But it was a, you know, pretty decent match. It wasn't one of the best matches of the night. It was definitely just a way to get Neville back into the game, a way to get Neville back into the position, the way that, you know, for Neville to make his return. So that was a good way for Neville to come back, and I'm glad that Neville's back because Neville's been gone for a while now, and it's good to see that he's returned and he's healthy and stuff like that. So that was a pretty, you know, good match for Neville's benefit, and not so much for Curtis Axel. That's not really helping him at all. Give that match about a 4 out of 10 stars, rating it. Next match on this list, which I believe this was the match of the night. Now, I have never, and I mean ever, done this. But what an amazing match this was. Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the Divas Championship. What an amazing match this was. It started off with Charlotte having her protege Dinah Brooke in the mix. You know, it started off with her in the mix. But then when the ref threw Dinah Brooke out, that really had it in my mind that Sasha, that this was her time, that this was her night, that she was going to defeat Charlotte. And what an incredible match it was. Both divas gave it their all in this match. I really give Sasha the most credit because Sasha kept her A game throughout the match, and she had Charlotte's number throughout this match. And there, and you know, when Charlotte put Sasha in the figure 8, I literally thought that that was going to be it, but she got out of it. She prevented herself from tapping out, and then she put Charlotte in the bank statement twice. The first time Charlotte escaped, but the second time when she said, "You'll never beat me," well, guess again, baby, you got beat. And oh my God, I just started reacting loud. I cannot believe it. This was one of the best matches and one of the best moments on Raw. My God, what a match. And congratulations to Sasha Banks for finally winning the Divas Championship. You see, me personally, I've been saying this before, I've been waiting for so long for someone to beat Charlotte. I've been saying time and time again that I'll be glad when Charlotte loses the title, that someone has to beat Charlotte. And what's funny is that Charlotte technically has not beaten Sasha Banks, as Sasha Banks is proven. Because remember, and I've said this before, it was Sasha Banks who took the NXT title from Charlotte when they were in NXT, if I'm not mistaken. And now Sasha Banks has taken the Women's Championship from Charlotte on Raw. What a night. What a moment. This, to me, was the match of the night. The match of the night. It was the same way WrestleMania when you had Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. That was nearly one of the best matches of WrestleMania. Now you got the episode of Raw coming off a great tag team match last on a Battleground, have an amazing match with just the two of them, and Sasha Banks is finally Divas Champion. The same way how I was tired of Nikki when she was champion. I wanted her to lose it. I was tired of Charlotte as champion. And finally, Sasha Banks has gotten her moment that people have been asking and wanting for so long. This match, I rated 10 out of 10 stars. Don't know if everybody would agree with me on this, but this was an excellent match. Give a match at night last night. It was a Divas match, no doubt about it. No other match could top it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That match to me was the match of the night. Next match on this card, You had Braun Strowman versus a jobber. The same way how that girl, Natty Jane from NXT, went against a jobber, she basically demolished him. That's what Braun Strowman did, so there's really no point of rating this match. I just gave it like a decent 1 out of 10 stars, I mean, because it was Braun Strowman, I mean. But it was a good way for Braun Strowman to be at his own now that he's separated from Bray Wyatt. So it was a good way for him to be on his own, but, you know, he basically faced a jobber. But, you know, he looked powerful, pretty powerful in the match. So I guess you can say what you want to say about that. Next up, you had Enzo, Admore, and Big Cass versus the Shining Stars, which is Epico and Primo. You know, this was a pretty okay tag team match. You know, it was just a warm-up. It's kind of like when you have those good matches that happen. They always just throw a match in there to kind of like slow down the crowd a little bit, just to kind of like get them back to a lower level. That's kind of what they do. They have a good match, and the next match they just do it. So this match right here was, you know, I'll give it about a 4.5 out of 10 stars. It wasn't bad. It was just one of those matches, you know, that you were just watching on your TV and was like, oh, you know, Enzo, Admore, and Big Cass won, which they did. I'm glad they did. So that was pretty good. Then you got the main event. Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor. What a match this was. Let me continue real quick. This main event tonight, Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor. What a match it was. It was an amazing main event. Of course, I got cut off due to space. I really hate my phone does this. But it was an amazing match, amazing event. Oh my goodness, this was a really good match. You know, first they kind of made it like Roman Reigns was just basically powerhousing Finn Balor, but Finn Balor came back, and Finn Balor kept going after Roman Reigns, and it was just a really good main event, you know, and it was a heck of a match. Both guys did a really good job in this match. Finn Balor really showed his momentum. He really showed why he calls himself the Demon, and he really did a really good job in this match. And the fact, and I think the most shocking part about this whole thing is how Finn Balor beat Roman Reigns clean. I don't think anybody expected Finn Balor to win that way like he did, but he beat Roman Reigns clean, and what a win for Finn Balor, what a night for Finn Balor, and what a way for Finn Balor to start off his very first time being on the main roster. Had a great match with Roman Reigns this main event. I'll give this main event about a 9.5 out of 10 stars, because I'm sorry, but the Divas Championship match just was the match of the night in my opinion. That was a great match. It was a good match. Both guys gave it their all, but the Divas Championship match, in my opinion, was the best match of the night. No doubt about it. So, thank you guys for watching this series. This is the second part right here, but I'm going to combine with the first. I won't have to say that, because I got cut off on the first, so this is going to combine with that. Please, guys, I want you guys to watch this video and support me and subscribe, because I will do more and more if you watch this video, subscribe, and support me. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys, talk to you guys another day. Peace.